All right, let's do a deep dive into Stoicism.
Yeah.
It's ancient philosophy, but, like, it's having a huge resurgence right now. You know, we're talking about ideas from, like, 300 BC that are still, like, super relevant today.
Mm.
And we're going to be breaking it all down using the Routledge Encyclopedia of Philosophy.
Yeah, it's amazing how Stoicism just seems to speak to people across centuries, you know?
Yeah.
What I think is so interesting is how it's so practical.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just these, like, abstract ideas. It offers a guide for how to live a good life, no matter, like, what you're going through.
Totally. And for anyone just joining us, think of Stoicism kind of like a framework for understanding the world and our place in it.
Yeah.
And it's built on 3 interconnected pillars.
Yes.
Physics, logic, and ethics, and each one kind of supports the other.
And you can't really understand Stoicism without starting with their concept of physics, which is where things get a little wild. So imagine the universe not as, like, static, but as this constantly evolving, breathing entity permeated by reason.
Hold on, breathing entity. That's a pretty bold image.
The Stoics saw the world as a living organism governed by a divine plan. So it's not just random chaos. Everything is interconnected and, like, part of a grand design.
So there's a purpose behind everything that's kind of comforting in a way?
Yeah. And get this, they also believe that the universe goes through these cycles.
Okay.
Ending in a fiery conflagration, which is basically a cosmic reset button.
Whoa.
And then it's reborn. And this just keeps happening for all eternity.
That's some heavy stuff.
It's a very interesting concept, and it kind of ties into their ideas about fate.
Oh, okay.
Which we'll get to a little bit later.
But how did they come up with this idea of a living, breathing universe?
Yeah.
Like, did they have evidence, or was it just a cool theory?
Well, they were really keen observers of the natural world.
Okay.
And they developed a bunch of different arguments to support their view. One of the main lines of reasoning was the argument from design. And if you think about it, they saw all these intricate structures in nature and how everything just fit together.
Right.
They thought it couldn't be just random chance.
Yeah.
There had to be some intelligent designer behind it.
So it's like looking at a complex machine.
Exactly.
Knowing there had to be an engineer behind it.
Yeah, they pointed to things like the cyclical seasons and the regularity of the stars, the way different species interact in an ecosystem.
Right.
They saw all of this as proof of divine intelligence at work.
Oh.
They even used the humble pig as an example.
Wait, a pig?
Yeah.
How does a pig fit into this grand cosmic design?
Well, they saw a pig as like a miraculous food store.
Okay.
Its very existence, with its convenient ability to be raised for food, was seen as evidence of a benevolent design, a world created for human benefit.
Okay, I see their point.
Yeah.
It's about finding those connections, those signs of, like, order and purpose.
Yes.
In unexpected places.
Exactly.
But this divine intelligence, what did they think it was?
Yeah.
Was it like the gods we hear about in mythology?
Well, not exactly.
Okay.
The Stoics didn't believe in, like, a personal god sitting on a cloud, judging our every action.
Right.
For them, God was a corporeal entity, an active force permeating the universe.
Interesting.
Shaping it with reason. Like, the universe itself is divine.
So it's not about, like, praying to a separate being. It's more about aligning ourselves with this cosmic reason that's woven into the fabric of existence.
Yeah, you could say that.
Okay.
And to understand this concept a little bit better, we need to dive into their 2 fundamental principles underlying Stoic physics: passive matter and active God, which they called theos.
Okay, let's unpack those.
All right.
First, passive matter. What did they mean by that?
So for the Stoics, matter was kind of the potential for everything.
Okay.
The building blocks of the universe, but matter on its own is inert.
Right.
It needed something to activate it to give it form and purpose.
Okay.
And that's where theos comes in, the act of God.
So theos is like the energy, the spark that animates the matter.
Yeah, you could say that. They believe that theos permeated all matter.
Right.
Creating the world we see, the plants and animals, even us. And this active principle was governed by logos, which means reason or logic.
So it kind of sounds like a sci-fi origin story. You've got this inert matter.
Yeah.
And then, boom, this divine spark comes in and creates a universe based on logic and reason.
Yeah. It's a pretty powerful image.
Yeah.
And it helps us understand how they could reconcile a belief in fate with the idea that we have a responsibility to live virtuously.
Hold on, fate.
Yeah.
I think we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here.
Okay.
We still need to explore the other pillars of Stoicism.
Right.
Logic and ethics.
You're right. But it's all connected.
Yeah.
Their concept of physics, This living, breathing universe governed by reason forms the foundation for how they approached logic and ethics.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Let's move on to logic then.
All right.
What did the Stoics have to say about how we think and reason?
Yeah. So we've laid the groundwork with our wild physics now.
Yeah.
Let's jump into Stoic logic, which for them wasn't just about like winning arguments or anything.
Right.
It was about understanding the nature of reason itself.
Okay, so when I think logic, I think of like syllogisms and like those brain-twisting puzzles philosophers love. Was that their style too?
Oh, they definitely loved a good syllogism, but Stoic logic was so much broader than that.
Okay.
They called it dialectic, and they saw it as the science of argumentation, a way to cut through all the confusion and get to the heart of truth.
Yeah.
But they didn't stop there. They also wanted to understand how we gain knowledge.
Right.
And even how language itself shapes our understanding of the world.
So it's like they created a whole system for processing information, like a sort of ancient algorithm for thinking clearly.
You could say that, and what's really fascinating is how they differed from earlier philosophers like Aristotle.
Okay.
By focusing on propositions rather than individual words.
Okay, explain that to me like I'm 5.
Okay.
What does it mean to focus on propositions?
So imagine you're looking at a fruit basket.
Okay.
And you say, that apple is red.
Right.
Aristotle might break that sentence down.
Okay.
Analyzing apple and red separately.
Got it.
But the Stoics would treat the entire statement, that apple's red, as one unit of truth.
Interesting.
They want to determine if that proposition as a whole was accurate or not.
So it's like they were looking at the big picture,
Okay.
not getting bogged down in the details of individual words.
Exactly. And this led them to develop some really complex systems of argumentation.
Okay.
They even identified 5 basic, undeniably simple argument forms.
Right.
Which they called indemonstrables.
Indemonstrables.
Yeah, and they believed that all valid arguments could ultimately be boiled down to these 5 forms.
Wow. Talk about breaking things down to their core.
Yeah, they were all about building a foolproof system for reasoning. And that rigor extended to their theory of knowledge as well. The Stoics were absolutely convinced that we can achieve true knowledge.
Okay.
That our senses and our reason can lead us to certainty.
But wasn't that a pretty controversial stance back then?
Yeah.
Weren't they going up against the skeptics?
Right.
Who basically said we can't really know anything for sure.
Yeah, they were locked in this constant debate with the skeptics, especially the academic skeptics.
Okay.
Who just loved poking holes in any claim to knowledge.
Right.
Questioning the reliability of our senses and the possibility of ever grasping the truth.
So how did the Stoics fight back against these ultimate doubters?
Well, they developed this really fascinating theory of cognition.
Okay.
Centered around the idea of a cognitive impression, what they called fantasia cataleptic.
Okay.
They argued that some impressions are so clear, so vivid,
Right.
that they guarantee their own truth.
Interesting.
It's like the impression itself is undeniable. You can't doubt it without contradicting yourself.
Okay, give me an example.
Okay.
I need a visual for this.
So imagine you're holding a bright red apple.
Okay.
Like the one in our fruit basket earlier.
Right.
The impression of that vibrant redness hits you so directly, so intensely, that you're compelled to believe it. You just can't help but accept that the apple is red.
I get it. It's like those aha moments.
Yeah.
When something just clicks and you just know it.
Exactly.
With absolute certainty.
Exactly. And the Stoics believed that these cognitive impressions, along with our innate preconceptions, are prolepsis.
Hold up, prolepsis. What are those?
Think of prolepsis as like the basic concepts that we're born with.
Okay.
Kind of a fundamental understanding of the world that allows us to make sense of our experiences.
Yeah.
They're like preloaded software in our brains.
Yeah, got it.
That help us interpret the data coming in from our senses.
So it's a combination of raw sensory data and this innate reasoning tower that leads us to truth.
Right. But it's not a passive process.
Okay.
We have to actively engage our reason, analyze our impressions,
Yeah.
and make sure we're only accepting those that are truly cognitive, the ones that carry that stamp of undeniable truth.
So it sounds like Stoic logic is all about training our minds to be discerning.
Yes.
To distinguish between reliable and unreliable information, between truth and falsehood. Like building mental muscles for critical thinking.
That's a great way to put it. And for them, this wasn't just an intellectual exercise.
Right.
They believed that the ability to discern truth was absolutely essential for living a good life.
Okay.
For making choices that lead to virtue and fulfillment.
Okay, now I'm really curious about this connection between logic and ethics.
Yeah.
We've explored their physics, how they saw the universe as this living, breathing entity.
Right.
And now we've delved into their logic, their system for thinking clearly. But how do they tie all this together into like a guide for living?
Well, that's where their ethics comes in, and that's what's so brilliant about Stoicism.
Okay.
It's not just a set of rules or moral pronouncements. Right. It's a comprehensive system that connects our actions to the very nature of the universe and the principles of reason.
Yeah.
It shows us how to live in harmony with the cosmic order, with that divine spark of logic that they saw in everything.
Okay, I'm hooked. Let's dive into Stoic ethics now.
All right.
Okay, so we've explored the Stoic view of the universe as this living, breathing entity.
Right.
And their system for clear thinking.
Yeah.
Now let's get to the heart of it all. Stoic ethics.
Okay.
You know, this is what most people think of when they hear Stoicism.
Right.
The idea of staying calm and rational no matter what life throws at you. But I have a feeling it goes much deeper than that.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Stoic ethics isn't about suppressing your emotions or becoming some kind of unfeeling robot.
Right.
It's about understanding your emotions.
Okay.
Where they come from.
Yeah.
And how to manage them so they don't control your life.
Right.
And it all starts with this really fascinating concept called oikeiosis.
Oikeiosis. Okay, that's a new one. Break it down for me.
All right, so think about it this way. You naturally care for yourself, right? You want to be safe, healthy, happy.
Right.
That's oikeiosis at its most basic level.
Okay.
It's that instinct to protect and care for what's yours.
So like self-preservation.
Yeah.
The drive to survive and thrive.
Exactly.
Right.
But here's where it gets really interesting.
Oh.
The Stoics observe that as we grow and develop our sense of oikeiosis, it expands.
Okay.
We start to include others in that circle of what we care for.
So our circle of concern grows wider.
Right.
We start caring for family, friends, community.
Precisely. And for the Stoics, the ultimate goal is to extend that circle to all of humanity.
Wow.
They believe we have a natural affinity not just for our immediate loved ones, but for all rational beings.
It's a pretty radical idea.
It is.
It's like saying we should see everyone as part of our extended family.
Yeah, and that idea of interconnectedness is key to Stoic ethics.
Okay.
It's the foundation for their emphasis on living in harmony with others.
Justice, compassion, and virtue.
But how does this connect to the whole indifference thing?
Yeah.
I've heard about that, but it always seemed kind of counterintuitive.
Right.
How can things like wealth, health, even life and death be indifferent?
It does sound strange at first.
Yeah.
But the Stoics weren't saying these things are unimportant.
Good.
They acknowledged that we naturally prefer health to sickness,
Right.
wealth to poverty. But they argued that these things are ultimately outside our control.
So it's not about denying that those things matter. It's about recognizing that we can't always control them.
Right. And they made a distinction between preferred and dispreferred indifference.
Okay.
We can prefer health and wealth,
Right.
but we shouldn't cling to them desperately.
Yeah.
Or base our happiness on them.
Because ultimately they could be taken away from us.
Exactly. And that's why the Stoics believe that virtue is the only true good. Virtue is something we can cultivate within ourselves,
Okay.
regardless of our circumstances. So it's like saying our character, our moral compass,
Right.
is the only thing that truly belongs to us, the only thing that can't be taken away.
You got it. And this emphasis on virtue as the ultimate good is where we see a strong connection to Socrates.
Oh, yeah. I remember learning about Socrates and his whole virtue is knowledge thing.
Yeah, the Stoics were deeply influenced by Socrates.
Okay.
They saw virtue not as something you're born with,
Right.
but as a set of skills or sciences that you develop through reason and practice.
So it's like becoming a moral athlete.
Yeah.
You have to train your mind and will to become virtuous.
That's a great analogy. And this training involves understanding our duties, or kathekanta.
Kathekanta. I feel like I'm learning a whole new language here.
Think of kathekanta as actions that align with our nature as rational beings.
Okay.
Some are universal, like being honest and just,
Right.
while others are specific to our roles in life, like being a good parent or a responsible citizen.
So it's about figuring out what's right in each situation and then acting accordingly.
Exactly. And the Stoics believe that a truly wise person, what they called a sage, embodies virtue perfectly.
Okay.
They act in complete harmony with nature, effortlessly fulfilling their duties.
But weren't they also pretty hardcore about like sin and happiness?
Yeah.
I read somewhere that they believed all sins are equal and only the wise are truly happy.
Right.
Isn't that a bit extreme?
It does sound extreme, but what they meant was that there's a fundamental difference between living in accordance with virtue
Okay.
and falling short even by a little.
Right.
True happiness, or eudaimonia, comes from perfect alignment with reason, not from trying half-heartedly.
So it's about striving for that ideal, even though we might not always reach it.
Right, and they emphasize that progress is possible for everyone.
Okay.
We can all move closer to wisdom and virtue through our choices and actions.
Which brings us back to the idea of fate.
Yeah.
If everything is predetermined, how can we have any real choice in our actions?
That was the big question that the Stoics wrestled with.
Right.
They believed in fate,
Yeah.
that everything that happens is part of a larger plan.
Right.
But they also fiercely defended the idea of moral responsibility.
Okay, that seems like a contradiction.
Right.
How can you believe in fate and free will at the same time?
One of their key thinkers, Chrysippus,
Okay.
used this analogy.
Okay.
Imagine a dog tied to a moving cart.
Okay.
The dog has two choices.
Right.
It can walk willingly alongside the cart,
Mm-hmm.
or it can resist and be dragged.
So the outcome is the same,
Yeah.
but the dog's experience is totally different.
Exactly, and Chrysippus argued that's how it is for humans.
Hmm.
We might not control the events that happen to us,
Right.
but we can control our attitude, our judgments, and our reactions.
So it's about accepting what we can't control and focusing on what we can, which is our own inner state.
That's a key takeaway from Stoicism,
Yeah.
and it connects to their concept of the cosmic city.
Okay.
The idea that all rational beings are citizens of a universal community governed by natural law.
So we're all interconnected,
Yeah.
bound by shared principles of reason and virtue, regardless of our differences.
Exactly.
That's a beautiful vision.
It is, and it offers a really powerful antidote to the divisions and conflicts that we see in the world today.
Absolutely. Okay, one last thing I'm curious about. The Stoics talk a lot about like controlling passions. Does that mean we should suppress all our emotions?
No, not at all.
Okay.
They understood that emotions are a natural part of the human experience,
Right.
but they distinguished between healthy and unhealthy emotion,
Uh-huh.
what they called eupathia, and passions.
Okay. I'm sensing another vocabulary lesson coming on.
All right.
What's the difference between those two?
So passions for the Stoics are excessive or irrational emotions
Okay.
based on faulty judgments.
Okay.
For example, fear is a passion when it's based on the belief that something external,
Mm-hmm.
like losing your job, is truly bad.
You're right.
But according to Stoic philosophy, that's just a dispreferred, indifferent. It doesn't actually harm your soul or your ability to be virtuous.
So it's about recognizing that our emotions are often based on our thoughts and beliefs, which aren't always accurate.
Exactly. And by correcting those judgments, we can transform those passions into eupathia, which are calm and rational emotional responses.
So instead of fear, we might experience caution.
Yeah,
Instead of anger, we might experience righteous indignation.
exactly.
It's about responding in a measured way without letting our emotions run wild.
Precisely. And that's what Stoicism is all about.
Yeah.
Taking responsibility for our inner lives, cultivating virtue, and finding true happiness by aligning ourselves with reason and the cosmic order.
Wow, this deep dive into Stoicism has been incredible.
Yeah.
It's like a whole new way of looking at the world and our place in it.
It's a philosophy that's resonated with people for centuries,
Yeah.
and for good reason.
Right.
It offers timeless wisdom for navigating life's challenges,
Totally.
finding meaning and purpose, and living a life of virtue and fulfillment.
I know. I'll be thinking about these Stoic principles long after this deep dive.
Me too.
And for our listeners, if you're intrigued by what you've heard,
Yeah,
I encourage you to keep exploring.
definitely.
The world of Stoicism is rich and complex, and there's always more to discover.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.